Hi, my talk at XConf wasn't about work. It wasn't about how you can make this world better for the rest of humankind. It was about a holiday. And yes, it was about something that every one of us needs to care about at some point or another. So, context. I joined ThoughtWorks in 2007 in ThoughtWorks India. And as some of you might know, ThoughtWorks India has a concept called rejuvenation leave. Now, the idea is that when you complete 4 years in the company, you get 4 extra weeks of holiday. As it turns out, that benefit got taken away last year. But since I joined at the right time, I got almost all of that leave. And then I tacked on a bit of leave of my own, and I got 6 weeks of holiday. Now, we've got a problem in this world, and this is Beverly and Derek Jobert. They're some of the world's foremost filmmakers on big cats. And they've been saying this for a long time. We're losing the world's big cats at an alarming pace. When I joined ThoughtWorks in 2007, I also met this guy called Chirdeep Shetty, who at the time was coming back from a sabbatical. He'd been working for Jungle Lodges, an outfit that works in Karnataka, very close to Bangalore. And he was working there as a naturalist. He'd done a lot of big cat photography, and I was inspired. I also had the great fortune of working with Shrudeep, which inspired me furthermore. So this year, when I got my sabbatical, my mini sabbatical, I decided I'm going to go tracking India's big cats. And this was what my journey's map looked like. I started with Gear, which you see on the left-hand side as number one, and I'll tell you about the rest of my journey. And what was I tracking? I was tracking lions, I was tracking tigers, and I was tracking leopards. So let me tell you about this journey by looking at each of those big cats. So first, lions. Now, India has a very special population of lions. These are the Asiatic lions, and no other country in the world has a living population of Asiatic wild lions. We've got about 400 of those, and I'll tell you a little bit about their history. But one of the things you need to know is that while these lions are smaller, they have no less of a personality than the African lions that you might see quite a bit on Nat Geo or Animal Planet. Now, Gir happens to be a scrub forest, a very, very dry forest in summer. And you're going to be extremely lucky if you actually see anything green out there. Gir's got a bit of a macabre history as well. One of the big problems with Asiatic lions in the past has been hunting, and our kings, they loved to kill big cats, particularly lions. In fact, there was a myth around which said that if you're a king and you killed 101 lions, you'd be invincible. So it wasn't much of a surprise that the population of wild lions in India had gone down to just about a dozen when the Nawab of Junagadh, the area that actually surrounds Gir, said no more hunting lions. And since then, since the 12 lions at that time, we've gone to 400 plus lions, which you would consider a success story in conservation. Now, it is a success story, but there are some caveats attached, and I'll talk to you about them in a bit. Now, Gir is home to the Maldhari tribe, and the Maldhari tribe lives around the forest and lives inside the forest. Now, they've been resettling to move out of the forest as and when things are convenient for them. But they consider themselves as protectors of the lions. In fact, one of the things I noticed around Gir is that everyone was extremely proud of the fact that lions lived around them. In fact, I spoke to a farmer out there, and he said, every time a lion comes and sleeps in my field at night, I can go to sleep in peace because I know there isn't any wild cattle ravaging my farm. Gir's got some amazing bird life. I mean, this crested hawk eagle, the Tickle's blue flycatcher, this is a thickney, some beautiful nocturnal life. This is a nightjar. This is a jungle nightjar. Jackals, leopards, nilgai. There's just a variety of wildlife. And of course, there's lions. I mean, this guy is called Raju by the tourists. And doesn't he look like he just roared at an MGM Grand movie? And if this guy was at the young side of the pyramid of the spectrum, then I had this old veteran of 12 years who'd been through several fights. I mean, he did look like he had a fierce temper. Gave us a big long stare. Wanted us to be away, but was majestic. And of course, there are cubs, and there's something to be said about how cute these cubs are. They once they grow a little bigger and they have a bit of a mane, they want to assert their presence. But the coolest thing is that we as human beings don't think of animals having emotions. But when you look at a pride of lions, you would see that everyone usually goes to the oldest female and tries to express their affection. This is that same cub expressing his affection to mom. This is one of her older litter coming and trying to get a kiss from mom. And it's amazing how she gets up and there's not a word spoken. She just stands up, she looks around, and everyone follows in a single file. I mean, that's discipline for you. And speaking on this topic of cubs, I mean, they look beautiful when they're asleep. Though it's not the most exciting time to film them because you've got the one shot and you're done. But they're really cute. Anyways, I was talking to you about these 400 lions, and I was telling you that seems like a rosy picture, but it isn't really. Now, the problem with Gir lions isn't so much a conservation issue. It is, but it's more of a political issue. This is Mr. Narendra Modi, who's the Chief Minister of Gujarat, and he's been taking this as a state pride issue. Now, I'll give you a bit of context. The Serengeti in Tanzania is about 26,000 square miles as compared to Gir, which is just about 1,500 square kilometers, a much smaller forest. In the 1990s, about 3,000 lions in the Serengeti, as compared to 400 lions of Gir, got affected by a strain of canine distemper. That strain of canine distemper wiped out 1,000 of those lions, a third of that population that got affected. Now, Gir is just 400 lions. Imagine if canine distemper, which is very prevalent in our street dogs, I'm pretty sure you can hear the street dogs barking behind me. If the lions got canine distemper from our street dogs and this became an epidemic, we could lose the last wild Asiatic lions of the world. Now tell me, is this a question of state pride, or is this a question of preserving the world's natural heritage? So there's some very silly politics going on.
Fascination.
I wanted to watch this video. This is Ben and Derek Jober, and there's a lion that's getting shot.
Or sees that magnificence. The numbers speak for themselves. While safari hunters shoot about 500 males a year, it's from an incredibly small gene pool.
500 lions get killed by safari hunters each year. And there's a macabre fascination to try and kill the biggest lions possible. You've got to see the size of that lion. Now this is a problem, right? Because let's say this lion was at the head of the pride. You can see how huge he is. There would be a lot of nomads, smaller challengers that would have been willing to get at the head of this pride, but wouldn't have the courage to do so because he's so big and huge. So now that you kill this lion, and let's say he has 7 or 8 males who have about 10 or 15 cubs, maybe sometimes 20, it gives the opportunity to the new male to take over the pride. Guess what happens when the new male takes over the pride? The same thing that happens amongst all cats, infanticide. The new male kills the 10, 15, 20 cubs in the pride and then settles himself as the head of the pride. One lion results in the mortality of 10 to 20 other lion cubs. But that's not the only problem. Here, you've gone ahead and killed a big lion, and that's allowed a smaller lion to come and sit at the top of the pride and propagate his genes. What you've effectively done is you're taking away all of the big lion genes from the rest of the world, and the world's left with weaker, smaller lion genes. Is that what we should be doing with one of the most magnificent, one of the most charismatic creatures in the world? I'll leave that for you to think. So, coming back, lions done, tigers. Tigers are definitely my favorite animal. There's a saying, and this is from one of our parks: nobody can assure you a tiger if you go into a park, and that's the fun of it. And I believe so. It's really exciting to go out there and track tigers. They're extremely stealthy, very shy. They don't like to come out in the open. This is how they'll just camouflage themselves in their environment. You could barely see this tiger until she came out and just presented herself for a split second, and then just settled in the grass. So where did I go? Let's start. So number 2, which you see on the map there, is Bandhavgarh. Number 3 is Kanha. Number 4 is Pench. Number 5 is Tadoba. Number 6 was supposed to be Ranthambore, but I didn't go there, so I skipped straight ahead to number 7, which was Corbett. And then number 8 was Bandipur, and number 9 was Kabini. So these were the parks that I went to get a glimpse and possibly get some photographs of tigers. And this summer, what a summer it was. It was a great time to be in the parks. You know, everyone was photographing tigers. There were beautiful beasts all around. This one was hardly about, 8 feet away? And she was beautiful. She was gorgeous. You could just count the hair on her body. And this is a very distinctive cat. If you notice his forehead, he has a very unique marking. It says cat on it. No guesses there what family he belongs to. His name is Munna, a big favorite with the tourists in Kanha. But the biggest draw was the fact that we had cubs, and there were cubs in every park. And here's the thing, I mean, cubs are just the most beautiful thing to photograph. They're curious. They want to play. I mean, this tiger cub was just so curious about me. It wanted to be out, but it was very suspicious. But when they're out and they want to start playing, they play, and how? So let me tell you the story of these 4 cubs. I mean, this cub decided, he had a stick to play around with. His brother said, no, well, you have a stick. Well, I'm going to play around with this bush. His other brother said, if you have a stick, I have a stick too. But then the 4th guy decided he wants to outdo everyone. So he decides he's going to uproot the tree all by himself. Of course, he can't do that. He's too small for that. But you can see that sibling rivalry, that personality just starts to come through right from the early years. And of course, once they get tired, then you have them trying to do all sorts of lazy stuff. I call this picture a wink, a blink, and a lazy cat. This is 3 of the 4 cubs that I just showed you. And Mom keeps a watchful eye, but she couldn't care less. All she wanted to be aware of was that I wasn't causing any harm to her cubs. And all she did was, kept half an eye on her cubs, kept most of her eyes on me. And yes, I mean, I really fell in love with this family. But why tigers? I'm really passionate about this, and there's a reason why I think we need to think about tigers strongly. Tigers stand for an ecosystem. If you think of this ecosystem, it supports a huge variety of animals and birds. I mean, look at that variety of birds, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Such a huge variety of mammals. I mean, that elephant decided it was going to go on its belly and do a bit of a rollover like a dog. Jackals, mongoose, wild dogs, deer, gore. You've got to see people's faces, and you've got to see how crestfallen they are when they don't see a tiger. I mean, this is a group that was waiting for a tiger, and they didn't see one, and they were disappointed. The forest is a much better place when you have a tiger in there because it supports this much wildlife. And it's true for any species that sits right on top of the food chain. It requires a lot of space, and that space that it requires can be a home to its prey, to frogs, to plants, to stuff that has medicinal value, to snakes, reptiles, big mammals like elephants, whatnot. I mean, a tiger is almost a protector of the forest. But the biggest thing for India in particular, and for most tiger range countries, is water. 600 of India's rivers originate from our tiger forests. And that's because forests form a catchment area for a lot of rainfall and water. The day the tiger disappears, our reason to conserve forests disappears. And the day we stop conserving our forests, our water disappears. We already have a huge water crisis in India. do we want to make that bigger by letting our protector of forests go extinct? It's a question for all of us. We've got big problems. There's a problem of poaching. This is a tiger from 2 months back, cut into 10 pieces, its paws taken away, its head taken away, its intestines, heart, kidney taken away, all for the purpose of skin trade and jewelry and Chinese medicine. It's a huge superstition in Southeast Asia that medicines made out of the parts of a tiger offer cures to difficult ailments. And it's a superstition at the end of the day. There's a lot of people who believe it, and that creates a huge market for tiger parts. Nothing in a tiger usually gets wasted. In this situation, the previous situation which I showed you, the poachers actually left something. But usually everything, tiger blood, tiger penis, tiger kidney, tiger liver, tiger teeth, tiger claws, tiger eyes, everything gets used in medicine. A dead tiger is worth a lot more than a tiger that's alive. And people will do bad things. That's how easy it is to skin a cat. And this problem actually extends itself to lions as well. So one of these is a tiger skeleton, and one of these is a lion skeleton. They look so alike that once we get rid of all the tigers of the world, it's going to be the turn of the lions. And then some strange person decided that they were going to fool the rest of the world by saying, well, why don't we have a tiger farm? Because if we have a tiger farm, we can preserve the genes and ensure that the tigers don't get extinct, and we can preserve this beautiful animal. Firstly, that's a lie. Tigers in forests are what we want to preserve because they preserve the ecosystem around it. But the biggest lie is that they don't actually want to save tigers. This is what they do to tigers. Because a dead tiger is worth a lot more than a tiger alive, as I said to you. There's a law against killing tigers, but there's no law against tigers dying. So what do? You starve tigers, and you put a lot of them into a cage. After a while, their tempers fray, and they attack each other, they fight each other because they're solitary animals to start with, and they kill each other. And then you have this, which is nothing but a pile of bones, skin, blood, meat, and everything that you need to create tiger medicine and tiger products. So, what can you do? It's not all bad. The first thing that any one of us can do is get to know a lot more about tigers. The Truth About Tigers is a brilliant website by Shekhar Dattari. In fact, if you wanted to watch this movie, you can download it for free. You can watch it online for free. If you'd like Shekhar and his colleagues to actually come down, they're more than happy to actually help you out and answer your questions. They can come down to your premises. They do this all the time. It's a brilliant website and a brilliant movie. You should definitely watch it. So, story of lions done, story of tigers done, brings me to the story of leopards. By the way, I have to give credit to my friend Yash, to whom this picture belongs. Unfortunately, I don't have too many great vertical photographs of leopards. So my friend Yashpal Rathore took this picture when he went to Pera, a place where I haven't been, but I'm going there this winter. But he definitely deserves credit for this one. Anyways, so I must have seen 80 or more individual big cats, but of them, only 3 were leopards. And here's why. Take a look at this picture. Do you see the leopard? I'm going to leave it on screen for a bit. And let's see if you can find the leopard. Give up? All right. Let's look. The first leopard is here. The second leopard is right on top of the tree. Can you see the spots? The third leopard is there. Can you see the spots again? And if that went too quickly for you, they're living in a 3-story building. And that's on the side of a road. So leopards are great at camouflage. They don't really like being in company of human beings. They're extremely shy. And while they're shy of human beings, they're pretty capable of living in close proximity. As I said, this is on the side of a road. And because they're such experts at camouflage, they're able to stay in close proximity and still make a living for themselves. We were lucky, however, to see a leopard right in the middle of the road. She was a beauty and she had cubs. I don't have the pictures of the cubs out here, but rest assured, it was a brilliant experience. But leopards face the most tough situation in India. And every year, 356 of our 10,000 leopards, and we don't even know if we have 10,000 leopards, by the way, 356 of those imaginary 10,000 leopards die. And this is the official figure. If we go at this rate, we will lose all of our leopards in the next 30 years. And that's not just for India, that's for all over the world. The biggest problem that leopards face is we speak of humanity, and this is the way we kill one of the most charismatic beasts that roams this earth. And this is the way we rejoice when we kill it. The leopard has no option. It lives close to human beings at certain times because its forests are shrinking. And when its forests shrink, it has no option but to come close to human beings. When it comes close to human beings, like any other animal, it gets overpowered. We are more powerful than any other animal in this world. In man-animal conflict, man always wins eventually. We've got to take some time to think about the plight of these leopards. They're misunderstood, they're persecuted, and almost every day a leopard dies in India. And the situation isn't much better outside India. You must have heard about the Donald Trump's son's hunt, Donald Trump Jr. This is Donald Trump Jr. and his brother, I think, not sure, maybe his friend, posing with a dead leopard, a leopard that they killed as safari hunters. Pardon my French, but they're absolute idiots. We're putting big cats on a fast track to extinction. In the last 50 years, lions have gone from 450,000 across the world to a mere 20,000. Tigers have fared even worse. We had 50,000 tigers 50 years back, only 3,200 today. Leopards, the most widespread of them cats, 700,000 50 years back, only 50,000 remain today. What are we doing? None of the other cats, whether it's the snow leopard, the puma, the jaguar, the clouded leopard, the cheetah, none of them are facing a better fate. They're all in danger. They're all on the precipice of extinction. We can change this, by the way. The fact is, there's a lot of organizations that want to do good. There's National Geographic, and they have a website called causeanduproar.org, as you can see on the top left of this slide. And their Big Cats initiative is a big way to not just follow the problem, but to also educate yourself of it. And there's a lot of great stuff happening across the world where people are being innovative when it comes to saving big cats. If you wanted to donate, National Geographic happens to be a worldwide organization, and I'm pretty sure they'll appreciate your support. Conservation India, for those of us in India, it's a great website full of news about conservation, not just limited to big cats. If you notice, There's some stuff here at the bottom left about leopards, but more than just big cats, it focuses on conservation in general. So great resource to give yourself if you wanted to learn about the problems around conservation. There's NGOs working pretty much everywhere in tiger, leopard, lion range countries. I'd like to point out one which I really like. This is Tiger Watch at Ranthambore. Their leader, Dr. Dharmendra Kandal, is an absolute brilliant biologist and an absolutely passionate gentleman who works for the cause of tigers. Single-handedly, he's mobilized a force and worked with authorities around to capture poachers, rehabilitate them, use tourist photographs to actually build a photographic database of Ranthambore's tigers. I think they're doing a great amount of good in that area, and they deserve all the support. And, well, that's not the only organization. There's several other organizations you can support. I'm just pointing out one. And most immediately, I'm turning 31 on the 25th of July, and I have a wish. I'd love to be able to help Panthera, one of the world's foremost organizations working to support the cause of big cats, with whatever money I can raise. And if you can help me raise money by going to that link, it's bit.ly/help-Panthera. Easy to remember, even if this presentation isn't round. Go out there, even if you can contribute $10. I think it'll make a great difference. Every penny counts. And that's it. I mean, this is again one of those pictures I got on my trip. Go out there, see tigers. It's one of those things you can do. See leopards, see lions. Spread the message. Tell everyone about this. I'm doing my bit by spreading the word, by sharing photographs, and I think you can do your bit too. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.